Hi and welcome to Up Front. In this episode, it's all about recreation as we sit down with the Castlegar District Recreation Commission.
The current Castlegar District Recreation Commission was established in 1985. The commission is comprised of 3 City of Castlegar representatives, along with the Regional District of Central Kootenay Areas I and J directors. The purpose of the Regional Recreation Commission is to research, program, and implement recreational services for the area. Responsibilities include planning and implementing seasonal programs and special activities, operation and management of area facilities, plus the promotion of recreational opportunities within the community. It is the aim of the CDRD Recreation Commission to provide high-quality service by offering a wide range of affordable programs, good customer service, and facilities which are safe, clean, and operational.
We're now in studio joined by Councillor Dan Rye, who sits on the Castlegar District Recreation Commission. So we're talking all about recreation today, Councillor Rye. So first off, why have a Recreation Commission? What is the purpose of the commission?
Well, first of all, good morning, Kristina. How are you today?
I'm great, thanks,
Good.
Dan.
So, well, I'm here today basically to talk about Castlegar District Recreation Commission. Basically, we're there to provide recreation facilities now and into the future for the residents of Castlegar and Districts I and J, which are in the regional district. So it's Castlegar and District Recreation Commission. And
the Recreation Commission doesn't just look after, say, the Castlegar Complex or the Pioneer, it looks after all recreation in the community, is that right?
That's right, yep. It's involved in your soccer fields, your baseball fields, your skate park over there, all those, anything basically to do with recreation. It was also involved in the expansion of the Millennium Park when it came to the pickleball courts and the tennis courts.
Okay. So I know there's some hot topics going on in Castlegar right now, proposed renewal to the existing facilities. But before we talk about the proposed renewal, let's talk about the facilities that we do have currently. Maybe give us a little bit of background on the complex and the Pioneer Arena. Okay, well, let's start with the Pioneer Arena because it was actually built first. The Pioneer Arena was built in 1956. And it basically down in the downtown core of Castlegar. It's, you know, we're talking 60 years later now, and it's had, you know, some structural issues over the years. Actually, in 1983, there was some major structural items that had to be corrected, and there was some rotting beams and that type of thing that I don't think a lot of people really realized happened. And then over the years, the building has got older, and in 1999, there was a study done. And basically, the majority of the building is structurally, you know, it's finished. It's reached the end of its lifespan, and it's time to move on. But it's still in use.
It is still in use, and it'll stay in use as long as the facility, we don't have any major breakdowns. But if we have a major breakdown, that will probably be the end of I'm positive that will be the end of the arena. Just too costly to keep repairing an old building? Yes, and we did do a repair a few years ago. We put in a new chiller. And there was quite a discussion amongst the commission at that time on whether we should be spending, I think it was about $120,000 at that time. And the justification for doing it was that if you put in a new chiller, a chiller's life is approximately 20 years, 20 to 25 years. It could be moved out of there later on. If we built a new arena uptown, you could move the chiller from down below up there, or if the chiller that's in the arena now was to pack it in, you could move it. So it can be used again, but that was really the only justification for doing it at that time. Okay, so now let's talk about the newer facility, the complex. When was the complex built? Okay, so the ice arena and the kitchen and multipurpose rooms were built in 1970, and those were left in position till, well, I should say 1990 they expanded, and that's when they put in the aquatic center. Okay. And so, you know, those facilities are getting a few years old. And then in 2000 there was an expansion to the senior center and to the multi-purpose rooms and an outdoor court area. So there's been things done over the years to upgrade the facility, but it's time to think into the future.
Okay, and that brings us to the hot topic currently, the buzz in Castlegar, the proposed renewal. So 7 years ago, the Castlegar community, along with areas I and J, went to the polls for a referendum vote on a proposed upgrade to the existing facility, the Castlegar complex. And the result of that vote was a no to the proposal at the time, 79% against, 20.9% in favor. So first off, walk us maybe through the details of this, of the new proposal. Yeah, the latest proposal. What will it include? Okay, so the latest proposal was, there was a master plan done in 2014 to 2015, and it involved a lot of community input. They basically met with, I believe it was 14 different user groups. We sent out a survey to all residents in the area, in the city of Castlegar and areas I and J. There was 792 respondents to the survey, which that is a high return. They were very happy with that return. I know 792 doesn't sound that high, but they do this all the time, and they thought that was a very good number. So that process basically told us what the residents thought were the priorities moving forward. And that was started in 2014? 2014, 2015, and now we've moved on to the next stage, which is to actually try to hiring an architect and putting things on paper and seeing where we're going. Okay, so can you, I'd like to know how this proposal differs from the one put forward 7 years ago, but first of all, could you walk us through what are the details of this latest renewal proposal? Well, the way they want to do it now is actually to build it. It can be built in sections, and they call it basically hubs. So you don't have to build the whole process all at once, which I think in the past, when they had the referendum in 2010, it was do all or nothing proposal, and I think that scared a lot of people off. So this time there's basically 5 different components of which ways it can be done, and we'll probably look at it from what the community has said they think the priorities are. And from the public meeting the other night, it was the same idea of get the information from the people and go from there. There's price tags attached to each component, and if you add it all up, it's a big number, but if you take it in small pieces, it can maybe be more feasible. And what are those components, Dan? Well, the number one component actually is the fitness center. People think that's the biggest item that needs to be done, is the fitness center. Walking tracks. A walking track inside the arena is another big item, and also the leisure pool. Those are the top 3 items. Okay. Any requests or asks for childcare or a dry floor space? As a matter of fact, that was a suggestion that came out of the meeting the other night. They said they didn't see anywhere in the proposal where childcare was being offered, so that's something that the architects will take back with them and go from there. But they will come back again in, they said, June, with the information they learned the other night, and with probably some different tweaking of what they've done, and we'll see where it goes from there. Welcome back. We're in studio with Councillor Dan Rye from the Castlegar District Recreation Commission. Now, before we went to the break, we were talking about the different elements for the proposed renewal to the facility. Tell us a little bit about what the next steps are now. You've had public consultation, you've talked to the user groups. Where does it go from here? Well, what will happen now is the architects will take the information that they've got, take it back, put some more stuff down on paper, and there'll be another meeting. Like I said, it's proposed for in June, and we'll go from there. Right now, it looks as though the biggest feature that people want to see done first is probably to clean up the building at the actual entrance and to work on some sort of fitness facility expansion. Okay. And speaking of the public, as a city councillor and a member of the Recreation Commission, what kinds of response have you heard from the public on this proposed project? I think what most people are saying is something needs to be done. We need to do something. The price tag is a little bit onerous. There's no doubt about it. The whole project probably would depend a lot on grants moving forward, as so many of these projects do nowadays. Grants are so big in what happens. I think I didn't hear a lot of negatives.
The only negative, of course, would be the price tag, but
Right.
but no one says it has to all be done at once. So it can be done in 1 step, 2 steps, 5 steps, and so the Rec Commission's going to have to decide just how much they want to bite off at one time.
So how does the Recreation Commission see this proposal, this renewal proposal, making a difference in recreation in Castlegar? I mean, it sounds like it would just be a bigger facility, more opportunity, but is that all it is?
Not really. You know, one of the stats that came out that was really quite interesting was that 81% of the residents in Castlegar areas I and J have used that facility in one way or another in the last year.
That's awesome.
And, you know, so that facility touches a lot of people. You know, they may not all be using it for recreation. They may be using it maybe the seniors center is being used, or maybe it's being used for meetings. But a lot of people use that facility, so it is a very important aspect of our city.
Sounds like there's a lot of really exciting components to this renewal proposal. But I wonder, Dan, has there been any talk about any updates to the actual facade of the building or how it looks from the outside?
Actually, it's interesting that you would ask that question, because when we were interviewing architects to hire an architect to do this project for us, I think that all 5 of them that we interviewed all made the same comment, that your building is not very inviting. You know, it's from the outside, is when you drive by it looks like a wall of concrete, really. There's not a lot of glass, and in today's facilities, when they build them, if you see new facilities, they're letting natural light in. They're you know, there's all kinds of glass. You can walk in, you can see what's going on. So it was really interesting to hear them say that, and after they said it, we all kind of went, you know, you're right, you're right. So yeah, any plans that we've seen come forward so far is going to involve a lot more natural light, way more open space for people to see what's going on, and just make it a more friendly environment.
On that note, are there any other plans for the grounds there? For the outdoor space? I know there's like a nice ball diamond there, and then the field, there's a soccer field.
There is a nice ball diamond there. That could be an issue if we do build another sheet of ice, because that sheet of ice would be built right beside the existing sheet of ice, which would put it going on to the ball diamond area.
Right.
So that would be an item that's going to have to be looked at down the road. There are plans, and have been plans on the books for a number of years, to build another ball field up in the Kootenay area where the other ball fields are. So, you know, these would all have to be part of the package.
The overall plan.
The overall plan,
Right.
Because there's really just the one field there, and it does get used quite often. But there has been we've had some talks with some ball people that think it would be great to have all the ball up at one field. So, you know, there'd have to be some consultation with the user groups.
Right, okay. Welcome back. We're talking with Councillor Dan Rye from the Castlegar District Recreation Commission. We're talking all about recreation in Castlegar. So Dan, let's go now to the overall vision of recreation in the Castlegar area. What is the goal for recreation here?
What people are way more conscious of their bodies now, and they're a lot healthier than they used to be. People are out, they're doing a lot more walking, they're doing more jogging, they're doing more outdoor activities, and I think we need to build facilities for the people that want to be healthy, and I think that's what we're working towards.
And the Millennium Park, let's talk about Millennium Park.
Yeah.
It has come a long ways in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful gem right in the downtown area.
That's right.
With some great activities for people of all ages. Is there more expected to come in Millennium as far as the Recreation Commission goes?
Well, last year, of course, we did quite a big upgrade between the Recreation Commission areas, IJ, and the city, and we put in another tennis court down there and 4 pickleball courts, more walkways, more parking. The city is actually building a dog park down there, an off-leash dog park down there right now, and it all intertwines. People can walk the whole thing, and it's just great. I mean, we get nothing but compliments on that park.
And there's soccer fields down there too, and I know they get a ton of use.
Yeah. The soccer fields are really busy. Of course, the Selgar Pavilion was opened up last year, and that's become a really big hit. People are using that all the time. It's going to be it's kind of a social area. People just want to go down there. You can drive down there, in February, and there's cars down there and people down there walking along the river. It's it's amazing.
Is the Recreation Commission then focused sort of on like the health of the community? Is that part of the thought process behind doing all of these projects?
Well, yes. I mean, the pickleball courts basically came about because we had a group of people come and say, hey, listen, you know, we don't have anywhere to play pickleball, and pickleball is a rising sport. You know, a lot of people go south in the winter, and then when they come back up here, that's where they've learned to play pickleball. And you know, we did some lines on some of the tennis courts, and you know, so that at least they could play. But there was a real desire for us to do something, and the opportunity came along to, you know, build something, and we went for it. And I know, I was talking to one of the pickleball members the other day, and it's nothing for them to have 20-25 members out in the morning to go play pickleball for a few hours.
Wow,
and
that's great.
They actually have a big tournament coming up here soon, so it's amazing. I even tried it.
So did I, and I did not do very well. Those seniors kicked my butt. But does this now, having groups come and approach the commission and ask, you know, and asking for something like the pickleball courts and then receiving it, has this opened the doors for other groups to come in and ask?
Well, it didn't happen overnight.
Right.
You know, these things take some time. We got a little bit lucky on that one because there was some grants that did come along, and so, you know, really we got that facility built for like, you know, 30 cents on the dollar. So, I mean, I can't say that every group that comes along is going to get what they want, but they all get looked at, and we listen to everybody that comes forward. And I think, you know, we are more focused on, you know, the health of the community, and we want to see a healthy community.
Okay. So we did post on our social media that you were going to be in studio with us talking about recreation, and we had a question come back. And the question posed was, does the CDRC ever plan to make non-residents pay more for CDRC recreation services?
That's a good question. I would say at this point, I don't think we've ever really discussed it. I can't speak for future commissions because they do change. At this point, I know that we have groups that come from up the valley. We actually have groups that come out of Nelson and come and use our aquatic center, you know, and as part of their school program, and they're paying the same as anybody else is right now.
Well, thank you very much for coming in today, Dan. Before you leave, I want to go back to the proposed renewal for the complex. Is there a website or a place that people can go to get information about the proposal if they missed the last public session?
Yeah, all the information will be posted. I believe they said by May 5th on the RDCK's website. And there's information on there. All the pictures are on there. The PowerPoint is on there. You can see what is planned. You can see what the timeline is going to be, or the proposed timeline for the next meeting, and you can see what's going on right there. And actually, they have all the modules are actually up inside the rec center right now.
Oh, so you can go in.
You could go and have a look right today.
Okay, very good. Since this is still in the proposal stages and public consultation period, I guess there's no set date for any sort of referendum vote. Is that right, Dan?
That's right, yeah. There is no date set for a referendum. It's to be determined, and that will be determined by what's the scale that we want to go forward with, and what proposals are coming forward, and how many dollars it's going to involve. There's also grants available out there. CBT has a recreation grant that we can maybe be able to tap into. There's federal infrastructure grants that you can tap into, but you have to have your plan on the shelf and ready to go. You can't just say I need money because I want to build something. You have to have a plan in place that's ready to go, and that's where we're working towards.
All right. Any final thoughts from the Castlegar District Recreation Commission?
No, I mean, I'm looking forward to this project moving forward. I think the community is interested to know what's going on. I got the feeling the other night from the meeting that the community is interested. I think they're happy that they're being involved in the conversation, and we'll go forward and see where we go.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Dan, for coming in and talking with us about recreation today.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good.